I don't know what it was that morning, but I just paused for a second and took a really close look at her face. And honestly, guys, she just looks sad. And that's horrible, right? Here she is, first grade. All she wants to do is just go to school and learn and have fun with her friends. And I'm getting her out of bed, running her around like a whirlwind, jamming some breakfast down her throat, and then pulling off and letting her go for the day. That's completely unfair. And it really did happen in that second. I looked at her and I was like, I have to get my shit together. I'm the adult here. This is completely unfair to her. And it's unfair to my husband, and ultimately it's unfair to myself. It's Evie here. Welcome to EML Radio, where we are always talking truth. All of those things you need to hear that nobody else is willing to say. Hello and welcome back to EML Radio. Today we are going to give you strategies to help you create not just routine in your life, but a routine that is actually aligned with your natural energy rhythms. Okay, so get a pen and paper out because you're going to want to take notes on this. Okay? We're going to go through it quick, but you are going to walk away from today's talk with some highly effective strategies to help you develop a routine that isn't going to cause you to feel burned out, to cause you to feel overwhelmed, and most importantly, a routine that is not going to cause you to just live your life day in, day out, just going through the motions. Okay, so get ready. So what do I mean by routine versus rhythm? There's a big difference here, actually. Routine is a set of actions you do on a daily basis in order for you to kind of get all the things done you need to get done in a day, right? Now, routines are completely necessary in order for you to maximize your time, to stay organized, and ultimately for you to develop new habits. Okay? So routine is necessary. However, where most people get it wrong is that they just kind of blindly put their routine together based on kind of a reactionary response from what's required of them, instead of actually taking the time to pay attention to their rhythm and then develop their routine around their rhythm. So what do I mean by rhythm? As human beings, we are wired according to the sun and the moon. We have what's called a circadian rhythm. Now, unfortunately for most people, that circadian rhythm is completely out of whack with too many distractions, too much blue light from electronics, not enough quality sleep, and ultimately living in a really heightened state of their sympathetic nervous system, which is kind of your fight or flight. Right? So for most people, we're dealing with like a really jacked up rhythm. And I think for probably a lot of you listening or watching this, you're like, I don't even know what my rhythm is because you just can't even get in touch with it. Right? So I'm going to give you some steps on how to, one, become aware of what your natural energy rhythm is throughout the day, and some ways to help improve it, and then some strategies on how to actually build a routine based on that good quality energy rhythm. And before I do that, I just want to share a little bit of a personal story with you, because this is an area of my life that took me, it probably took me until my late 30s to kind of figure it out and really get my shit together. So I used to be a person that pretty much got up about not even an hour before I had to leave the house. This was back when I owned my brick and mortar coaching facility. And it actually goes all the way back into my early career in the financial industry and all the other areas that I worked in. I never prepared myself in the morning for anything. I pretty much just got up,
snoozed my alarm at least once or twice, got up, didn't sleep great, so I didn't feel good. I didn't have a whole lot of energy. And then I spent my whole entire morning just kind of scrambling to get myself and my daughter out the door. Right? And I've shared this story before, but I'm going to share it again because I really want it to sink in with you guys how important this is. Because your lack of routine or your lack of rhythm doesn't just affect you, it affects all the people around you. And most importantly, it negatively affects all those people that you love, especially your kids. Okay? So I used to just be scrambling in the morning. And one day, my daughter was about in the first grade. And I was dropping her off at school. And of course, I was rushing, getting her backpack, just sending her out the car door. And I don't know what it was that morning, but I just paused for a second and took a really close look at her face. And honestly, guys, she just looked sad. And that's horrible, right? Here she is, first grade. All she wants to do is just go to school and learn and have fun with her friends. And I'm getting her out of bed, running her around like a whirlwind, jamming some breakfast down her throat, and then pulling off and letting her go for the day. That's completely unfair. And it really did happen in that second. I looked at her and I was like, I have to get my shit together. I'm the adult here. This is completely unfair to her. And it's unfair to my husband, and ultimately it's unfair to myself. So I spent probably a good 2 or 3 years really learning about my natural energy rhythms and then building a routine that allowed me to literally, guys, just kind of like reshape all of our lives. So I share that with you because I want you to understand that, like, I was you at one point, right? I struggled with this hugely for the better of 30 some years of my life. But now I've figured it out and I want to help you figure it out. Okay, so here it goes. First of all, number one, you have to start building awareness around your rhythm. I want you to take notes throughout the course of several days. Ideally, it would be through a couple of weekdays and then a couple of weekend days. And I want you to track on that paper exactly what your energy feels like throughout the day. What do you feel like when you wake up? About an hour after waking? How do you feel around noon? How do you feel later in the day, into the evening, and then before bed? Because you can't change anything unless you become aware of it first. So I want you to start tracking your energy cycles throughout the day. Now, once you have tracked those energy cycles, what I want you to pay attention to is helping to improve them. So a natural energy rhythm and a healthy rhythm would be that you wake ideally the same time every day without an alarm. Okay? Some of us have to rely on an alarm. That's all right when you're first starting. But the highest level of a rhythm, a healthy rhythm cycle, would be that you wake, you feel a little bit groggy, right? Because you just open your eyes. You get out of bed without snoozing. Okay? Within about 15 minutes, you feel good. And I mean you feel good without any kind of stimulant. Yes, I drink coffee, but no, I do not rely on it for energy. Okay? If you're relying on an artificial stimulant for energy, you are really messing up that good, healthy energy rhythm. So we want to wake around the time that the sun comes up, feel good energy and alertness about 30 minutes after, and then about 2 hours after waking is when you should be feeling your highest level of energy, your highest level of alertness, and most importantly, your highest level of creativity. Like, this is that window where you're just like, man, your day is just jamming. Now from that is going to slowly taper throughout the day. So we all get so afraid and we hear so much about like this late afternoon total like crash. Well, here's the truth. You should have declining energy as the sun starts to set in the sky. Right? So when the sun is the highest in the sky is probably when you're going to feel the most alive and most alert and productive. And then that's going to taper naturally throughout the day. Now, what you want to watch for, though, is if you have good, consistent energy and then it's not a slow decline, it just completely plummets, right? Around 2 or 3 o'clock. Now, that is a natural time for our energy to start waning, but it shouldn't just be like a total crash. If it's a total crash, there's probably a couple of factors involved. For one, you're probably not getting good quality sleep at night. 2, you're probably using artificial stimulants like coffee or other caffeine to get yourself going in the morning. And 3, you are most likely what we would call a sugar burner. So you're eating way too many carbohydrates early in the day. And as soon as that blood sugar starts to plummet, you feel like you just can't get yourself out of bed, right? Off the couch. So those are the things to watch for if you feel that late afternoon crash. But a normal decrease in energy, that's great, guys. That's exactly how you should feel. And then as the sun starts to completely set in the sky and the moon starts to come out, you should feel an even further decline in your energy to where by 8, 9 o'clock at night, you're actually ready for bed. Now, that is a absolutely optimal energy cycle, right? Or an energy rhythm. Now, for most of you, you probably don't have that. But areas that you can use to correct it are going to bed and waking up at the same time every single day. Now, that means even on the weekends. Not using artificial stimulants to increase your energy, and especially staying away from them late in the day. It's like the worst thing you can do for yourself in trying to develop a good circadian rhythm is pumping yourself full of caffeine late in the afternoon. Not to mention it's absolutely detrimental to your health and it makes weight loss difficult. Okay, so other couple of things that you can do is avoiding electronics late in the day, especially getting off your phone or computer, laptops, and turning off the television at least 1 hour before bed, ideally 2 hours. There was a really fascinating discussion on a Joe Rogan podcast that I listened to a couple of weeks ago. There was a sleep expert on there that actually gave us like the factual like numbers behind what happens to your melatonin production. So melatonin is like your sleepy hormone, right? What happens to your melatonin production when you are looking at a blue screen at night, and it actually delays it. It delays your melatonin production by up to 3 hours. Guys, that's crazy. So normally if you would start producing melatonin so that you felt tired at night by say 6 or 7 at night, you're looking at your screen, that's going to delay that melatonin production until 10. So then you wonder why you lay in bed and you can't go to sleep, or even worse, you fall asleep quickly and then you just bing, pop wide awake 2 hours later or 2 or 3 in the morning. Right? Those sleep disruptions will completely destroy your ability to develop a natural, healthy energy rhythm. Okay? So start just building awareness, track your energy rhythms throughout the day, track your sleep, and then start implementing the steps I just gave you to improve that rhythm. Okay. So now let's switch gears a little bit and talk about routine. So yes, routine is absolutely necessary for us to be at the height of production, right? We just have to plan for things. Otherwise, we're just kind of reacting all day long. Routine is also critical in helping you develop habits. And I'm just going to take this chance to point out too, there's all this bullshit on social media all the time. I see the meme and I just want to scream, right? That says, habits are created in 30 days, lifestyles are created in 90. Who's the fucking genius that came up with that? Really? Let me ask you something. How many of you have been able to develop a completely rock solid habit in 30 days? Come on, guys, that's not the way it works. Habits take, on average, 90 days for you to create. And the only way a habit becomes a habit is that you do it consistently. So that's why routine is important. But get rid of that whole stupid notion that habits are created in 30 days, because they're not, right? It takes much more, like 3 months, if not longer. And lifestyles are sure as shit not created in 90 days. Come on. Think about all the even bad habits or bad lifestyle or detrimental lifestyle practices that you've developed. It didn't just take you 90 days to create that. It took you years, right? So I just had to straighten that out because it's been driving me crazy. But routine is critical. What you don't want to happen is that you're so held to your routine that you just go into like the humdrum, day in, day out, same old bullshit mentality. Right? That will wear you out, and ultimately that's when your routine becomes counterproductive for you. So instead, our routine needs to be based on that energy rhythm that I just explained. Right? So it only makes sense that when you're building a routine, that you take care of all of the things that are absolutely critical and take your highest level of alertness and attention during that morning window when you're most productive, right? Then you're not just constantly fighting an uphill battle, trying to have energy to do things that require your highest level of energy because you keep on trying to do them late in the afternoon, right? So here's how I want you to build your routine. Quick, easy steps, okay? We're going to start with morning routine. Morning needs to involve some kind of quiet, attention, and presence with yourself. No phone, no distractions, no checking emails or texts the first thing when you wake up. How many of you do this thing, right? You pick up your phone, you're still in bed, and you're like this. So bad for you guys, right? So what needs to happen is that you get up. You don't snooze your alarm. You get up, and the first light that comes into your eyeball is sunlight. So here's your morning routine. Sunlight on your face, quiet, presence within yourself for at least 5 minutes. This stuff doesn't have to take a long time, guys. It just has to be purposeful. Quiet time for yourself, give a little bit of gratitude, and move your body. I don't mean that you have to go run off to the gym at 6 a.m., For some of you, that may actually be very counterproductive. Right? What I mean by movement is I just want you to get some blood moving around your body. Go for a short walk, jump on a stationary bike at home, do a little yoga or stretching, or just some breathing exercises. That's going to help ramp up your energy as well. And then the last thing in your morning routine that is absolutely critical is making sure that you're having a breakfast. Do not skip breakfast. We can talk about intermittent fasting on another show, and I plan to set the record straight there as well. But especially for you ladies that have very sensitive hormones, you do not want to skip breakfast. And your breakfast is important in what it consists of. And here are the two things your breakfast needs to have in it. It needs to have protein, and it needs to have fat. And it needs to actually be chewed. It does not need to be drank. Drinking your breakfast is the worst thing that you can do for yourself. It will absolutely destroy a stable blood sugar throughout the day, and it'll leave you hungry, dissatisfied, craving, tired in the afternoon. Okay? So got it. Breakfast every single day, protein and fat. Skip the carbohydrates at breakfast. Then you move into your most creative time of the day. So in your calendar, you schedule the things that are most demanding. You get all of those things done and out of the way early in the day when you're most productive. Then, as you schedule the rest of your day, you start scheduling activities and responsibilities that are of lesser and lesser importance. See how that works? You get a lot of important shit done early in the day when you're creative and productive, and you save the less important things for later in the day. And then lastly, and this one is very important, you need to make sure that your routine is actually setting you up for success. And what I mean by that is that you're not just simply making a to-do list, because to-do lists are really kind of bullshit if they're not realistic. So when you're scheduling out all of the demands for the day and all of the things you're going to get done in your routine, you need to make sure that they're realistic. Do not put things into your daily schedule that you know for a fact are not going to be completed. Because what happens when you do that is that you set yourself up for disappointment every single day. So instead of ending the day on a high note where you're like, man, I crushed it, I knocked out everything that I had to do today. Instead, what most people do is they just randomly make a list, and at the end of the day, they're like, oh shit, I only got half that stuff done. I was a failure today. See the difference? So let's rehash it in 3 easy steps. 1, build awareness around your natural rhythms in your energy, and schedule activities in your day and the requirements within your day based on that natural energy rhythm. 2 is schedule everything. That means schedule family time. That means schedule time at the gym or exercising, even if it's at home, scheduling your meals, and keeping those appointments with yourself. You cannot just go through the day, even if you're aware of what your energy rhythm is like, in just hope that you have time for things. That's not the way it works, guys. Hope doesn't get you anywhere. Planning is what it takes. So build awareness. 2, schedule everything. And 3 is make sure you keep it realistic and attainable. So finish the day feeling completed, feeling like you have accomplished the things that you set out to do. You do those things, create a routine that is actually aligned with your natural rhythm, and guys, you will be unstoppable. You will be amazed at just how much time you really have and how many things you really can accomplish. So, here's the truth I'm going to leave you with today. The truth is, most of you out there are just winging it throughout your day. You are hoping you get more time. You are hoping things work out. You are hoping someday you accomplish all the things that you're trying to accomplish. Well, I'm here to tell you, hope doesn't work. Action does. And taking intelligent, intentional, purposeful, and well-designed action is the highest level of creating exactly what you want from your life. Your life does not have to be a humdrum routine day in and day out. Your routine can become flexible, but the only time that that can happen is when you are in tune with your natural energy rhythms and you plan according to those rhythms. Thanks for tuning in today. Hope this helped you guys out. I know for me, this has been a complete life changer. And before you go, make sure that if you haven't already, that you subscribe to the video versions of this podcast on YouTube. And for those of you on the audio-only versions, make sure you subscribe at Spotify, or we're on iTunes, we're on Google Play, and we're also on Stitcher. And then I would really appreciate it while you're there if you just give me a rating, right? We are really working hard to try to spread the truth and spread EML radio across the world. But I can't do that alone. I need your help. So if you could all do me a favor and give me a thumbs up, or a thumbs down for that matter if there's episodes you don't like, but at least while you're there, subscribe and leave me a rating. I appreciate it. Always here for you. Reach out if I can be of help. Thanks, guys.